Floor podcast. Shout out to Australia.
Jordan Crawford, nice move with the dribble.
Here's driving on Stoudemire, the jumper, yes! Oh, what a diving save by the guard. Yeah! Boston wins! Tatum drives down and throws it down! You guys are talking about a dynasty. Here's where it is, right here. That's a nice for the tie. Yeah, the best team in the world right now. Marcus Smart at the buzzer. Shireman in the deck.
Man, First of the Floor podcast, Ben Vallis here, along with Jake Eisenberg, Joe Titty, Jackson Bauer, and guys, it happened. Jaylen Brown traded for Paul George, a 2028 and 2031 first-round pick, and 2 seconds, much to the ire of the fan base. We're going to cover all the angles here tonight, Aussie time, this morning, US time, but we'll go around the room real quick. Jake, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about this?
I've learnt I'm feeling much better than most. In the past 12 hours, I've gotten one step short of death threats on Twitter so far for being positive somewhat about what has happened. I was driving to work and I got a message from my dad saying, no. And I was like, I've got to call him immediately because I can't pull over on this highway right now. And yeah, didn't see this one coming.
Jackson Joe, like founding members of the show. First of all, welcome back. And what a time to return.
If only I had nothing to offer you but stunned silence. But yeah, thanks. Nice to be back. Good to see you, boys. Yeah, real quick. It sucks. I don't like it at all. I'm definitely not on the extreme doom side that, a lot of people are saying and that you were alluding to, Jake. So, we'll get through it. I still think the team's pretty good. We can get into all that later. But yeah, that return is garbage. I'll leave it at that.
Just complete confusion. Complete confusion from me. Total confusion. And like,
yeah,
I have obvious, like, I'm on record as being a JB hater on this podcast. Correct. And I'm on record as, baby. Yeah, wow.
He's on the Sixers now,
There's weird duality to these things.
I'm also on record as saying you'd have a negative value contract, but like, not like this, man.
Well, I think that's come out in the wash. Yeah, the negative value. I mean, here's where I'm at with this. So Jake and I were talking yesterday in our Discord, like mod chat, and Jake, you were all over this. You were pretty convinced that the return for JB was going to be basically what it ended up being. Credit to you. I think we were talking about like the Portland iteration, but my stance was that like I couldn't accept the fact that the situation between Jaylen and the Celtics was so bad that we'd be forced to accept a deal like this. And evidently, it must have been pretty bad because on paper, it's a shit deal. But now we have this important data point in this whole thing that like running it back wasn't an option, right? And for whatever reason, maybe it was because of how Jaylen felt about the Celtics. Maybe it was the other way around. But I do believe that if Brad and Mike Zarin thought they could ride this out and get a better deal later, they probably would have done that. And so with that in mind, I do think that 2 very decent first-round picks and a large chunk of salary that isn't expiring next year, which is exactly when we're looking to spend and go back into the tax again, that does position us extremely well for the future. So in a vacuum, shit return, objectively bad value in return for Jaylen Brown. However, you are objectively in a better position going into the time next year where you can start to spend actual money again and really make a splash financially in terms of the salaries that you invest in under the constraints of the current CBA. So again, for the 4th pod in a row, I'm going to say the real enemy is the CBA, not Brad Stevens, not Jaylen Brown, not Philly, not Shams. Jake, you're kind of nodding / rubbing your brows in some approval, man, I think.
I just so there's so many thoughts. I'm like, I was actually nervous for this podcast.
Yeah.
And at home, I was like completely ignoring my wife.
I have that effect on people. It's you're not the only.
This is like the biggest podcast we've had, I guess, since the Tatum tearing of the Achilles. But even that, I don't know. Yeah, that was a big one as well. But I was like a bottle of Fireball deep and wasn't nervous. I think everybody on this podcast, I'll speak for myself at least, a lot of people listen to this podcast, we're big believers or are big believers in Brad Stevens and this front office and their ability as guys that get stuff done in the NBA. And they believed whether what the details were as to why, whether it's the relationship was fractured or not. I'm not sure if we're ever going to find that part out. Brad Stevens and the front office decided that the Celtics had a better chance of winning Banner 19 with Jaylen Brown off the team. And we're not going to know all the specific details as to why, whether it was like a cultural thing, if it's going to be an analytics thing that we're going to get into. They were pretty clear about this guy needs to be off the team based on the return. And based on the return being bad, is the return bad if the market decides this is the price of the thing that you're selling? Like a month ago, we would never have thought the return would be this. But the difference between this, and I've seen this comparison made with the Luka trade. This is the worst trade since the Luka trade. The thing that made the Luka trade bad and the worst thing about it was they didn't canvas the league. They canvassed the league on this one.
Big time.
And everyone was like, we're kind of good on Jaylen Brown. And so this is the best. I just refuse to believe Brad saw 8 other offers and was like, actually, I'm going to take the bad one and leave the other 7 ones that were better than this.
Yeah, that's where I get stuck as well, too. And also the team that we traded with, like, I feel like there should be a more animosity between organizations when there are actual rivalries there. So doing business with the Sixers, especially when it's like one of your, like, you know, pillar superstars, been here 10 years, max contract guy, finals MVP, yada, yada, yada. That just feels really, really off to me. And yeah, I'm like morbidly curious what the other offers were for them to say, this is the one we're going with. And also more to that, what dictated that it had to be now? Like, were the offers getting worse? Were they deteriorating? Was there some sort of bombshell that's going to come out like this time tomorrow or earlier that's going to like change this whole situation and give him less value? I don't see how that's possible. But yeah, just who he goes to is probably what sticks with me the most.
Yeah, Joe, like if you had to guess, I guess like why now? Why not wait till later? Because that's what I was saying to Jake yesterday. It's like if the market isn't good for Jaylen right now, like you could wait, but evidently for whatever reason there was a desperation to make the move as soon as possible.
But this is where the confusion comes from, because like Jake's analysis is basically like Brad Stevens thought the Celtics were better off without JB on, therefore he had to be traded, therefore this is the price that he could get. And I just like, and I'm a hater. Like, I actually want to, I think it would be like helpful for us all to go through the reasons why JB sucks. But like, he doesn't suck that bad. Like, he's a real player, you know? We're not better, man. Like, we're not a better team. I just don't believe that. I just disagree with Brad Stevens on that point. And if you know, at that juncture, you know, I don't think he just didn't have to do this. This is the confusion. I don't think we're better. So I don't know why we had to do this. And sorry, Ben, I've actually forgotten the original question and gone off on my tangent.
Doesn't matter at all.
You pretty much got to it.
It's a fair point. Why did he feel like he had to do it? Because I brought up the comparison, speaking of Ben Simmons, Daryl Morey willing to stare into the face of uncomfortableness for an entire season, and it eventually led to James Harden, which led to them kind of salvaging that situation. Brad either wasn't willing to play that game or the offers were getting worse. That's what I wonder. But like, I don't think any of us thought that Jaylen was going to be scorched earth, like go full 2019 Kyrie Irving on his own teammates if he did come back, which is why I come back to Brad thinks we're better off without him. And then that takes us into the analytics conversation. There was a comment just before about, well, analytics are dumb if it tells you Jaylen Brown's not good. And then maybe we go back one step further, and it's like the original sin of all of this is actually a CBA what Ben said, but in this more recent time, it's not going all in on Giannis. That's the part. Yeah. So 2 things. One, was he completely wrong about Jaylen Brown's value? Maybe that's the answer to this. He was like, well, if we don't trade him for Giannis, we'll get a really good package from elsewhere. Maybe they hadn't done that canvassing of the league yet. They maybe banked on the fact that him being an all-NBA second-team guy and a 6th in MVP voter, there'll be at least two teams that would bid against each other to give you a real return, and he was wrong. Because I think we all agree, Baylor Scheim and Ugo Gonzalez and two more first-round picks, so 4 picks, Ugo and Baylor for Giannis, or this for Jaylen? That's an interesting question. I'd probably still go Giannis, obviously.
100% go Giannis. I wasn't sure how I felt about the Giannis thing beforehand. I think I was saying to you guys in the chat, but immediately after Miami got it, I was like, oh no, we should have got him. We should have paid the price. It was like the immediate non-buyer's regret. And the annoying thing is the Portland 3-team. It seemed to me like it was sitting there where everyone was able to kind of, I guess, appropriately pay appropriately. Like there was, didn't make sense for Milwaukee to have Jaylen. Made sense for Portland. Portland's pieces were better than what they got back from Miami. I just don't know why that couldn't happen. But look, if Portland didn't want to play ball, man, we would have been so much better off with Giannis. Would be a contender. And the thing that people are maybe not factoring in is, man, Tatum's he's only got so many years. You don't know when his time's up, right?
Coming off an Achilles.
We've got a top tier player, and we got to win. We got to throw it at.
I think it's clear that's what we're hurtling towards now, is like a Tatum-centric rebuild that's modern day CBA friendly, right? So next year we can spend money, and now we have compared to the Giannis trade, where clearly the Bucks wanted a lot from the Celtics, and Brad and Zarin clearly decided Giannis plus Tatum plus XYZ would be a really good situation, roster, whatever, to compete now. But the Bucks wanted too much of the XYZ. That exceeded our threshold for what we thought would be a good competitive squad while maintaining some flexibility going forward, and we stood up and we walked away. That's fine. The Jaylen acquisition, it's a totally different, I think, distinct situation, right? Where we've traded Jaylen Brown and we've actually bettered our position in terms of flexibility and maneuverability going forward. In fact, going into next year, where we'll have Tatum another year distanced from the Achilles injury, with I think our TPEs that are quite good expire sooner than next year. But we now have real draft capital that we can attach in maneuvers, in trades, exchanges, whatever you want to call it, where we're bringing players into those TPEs. Plus, we have Paul George's expiring next year, which is essentially equal to Jaylen Brown's salary, but expires a year earlier. Again, perfectly lining up with the timeline for spending a lot of actual money and putting a real championship squad together around hopefully a healthier and more healed Jason Tatum next year.
Who's going to be available? Who's going to be available? It's just going to be another overpaid.
Jokic,
it's going to be another over. You going to trade for Jokic, guys?
It does line up perfectly.
You got 5 first-round picks, but that's
okay.
That's
call it in. I love him, but that's not going to happen, guys.
Probably not. Well, Paul was not going to get traded for Jaylen Brown 2 weeks ago, and Luka Doncic was not going to get traded for Anthony Davis last season. So the NBA is complete. LaMelo was not going to the Timberwolves. The point is that the coming season was never supposed to be the season. As soon as Tatum tore his Achilles, it was like, we're tearing the team down because of the second apron, and it's going to be 2 years at least, 2 years resetting the repeat attacks before we go back in and become a real championship team. Whether there could be another Paul George trade coming where you break this contract down into multiple pieces, because the key is, how do you get back above the second apron? Because right now it's like, you don't actually have, if you let this TPE expire, then that's the best way to do it. We have the current salary cap or salary roster that we've got, and we have $27 million. We can just trade the 2 picks for some guy who's very good into that money. So you need to start to figure out how you're going to go above the second apron, whether that is a Paul George for Jokic, whether that's a Paul George for 2 pieces type of thing. But at the end of the day, it feels like the Brad Stevens and the Celtics have been very analytics driven now. They're leading into the spreadsheets. They're saying Jaylen Brown has been worse. We've been better without Jaylen Brown on the court for years now. Whether or not, I think there's a balance to it, obviously. I think teams went too far. I don't think Brad was dealing with a rational actor in Portland. Why would you trade for Ja Morant? Your team makes no sense now. They should have traded for Jaylen Brown. I think there's a gap between 6th and MVP and some of the media, Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and whatever their analytics do that said he's the 7th best player on the Celtics. Obviously, there's a chasm between those
on the
types
Celtics.
on the Celtics. There's a chasm between like those types of opinions. I know Brad seems to think that maybe the sheets are right.
But hang on. Didn't he know this time last year? If that's
what
the case?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
It
Sorry,
would have
Jackson.
been better.
Then you say it. Make the point, Jackson.
It would have been better a year ago. So that's why, back to I think what I said before, I'm really curious as to know what has happened in the last 6 months, 2 months, 1 week. I imagine it was post Giannis trade and all of that noise getting out that someone's made a call, or it's like, we do have to go scorched earth or some shit like that. But yeah, whatever has happened in the last week or month or whatever, they've gone from, no, we're going to keep Jaylen Brown during this completely obvious and beneficial time to tank because you've got Tatum out. You could have just completely bottomed out and gone for it, maybe expedited that timeline that Jake was talking about. I don't know enough about the cap, so fair. But yeah, I need to know what the last straw for Brad was. It probably wasn't even anything major. It probably just was like he saw one Instagram story post too many. He was like, all right, that's enough. I've had enough. Or it was something major. That's what I'm
Was
like.
it games 5, 6, and 7 of the Philadelphia 76ers series in the first round?
Could have been that too.
Too soon.
Could have been that too.
That's possible. Yeah, I think that, you think about what we should do an ad read before
we have to get to an ad read before the 17-minute mark, pay the bills on this show, keep the lights on,
Really?
and then we got obviously so much more to get to. So we'll be right back after a quick word from our friends over at Prize Picks.
Yeah, it's Prize Picks time. Welcome to the party, Joe. We have to shout you some beers on Prize Picks time after you and Jackson put in all the groundwork here. But yeah, it's Prize Picks, WNBA, MLB, World Cup. We got Australia versus Egypt, 4 a.m. Saturday morning, locked in, and we're looking pretty comfortable at that one. Give me some Lecky Moores on that one. Paige Beckers has been cooking in the WNBA. Don't forget their early payouts on Prize Picks. If your player gets off to a hot start, you now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game finishes. Prize Picks, it's up to you. You want flexibility, choose Flex Play where you can get paid even if one of your picks misses, or if you want bigger payouts, you can go for the power play. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, a preferred partner of the NBA.
Shout out Prize Picks, shout out the CLNS Media Network for presenting this show, the First on the Floor podcast, to which you should subscribe on all platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Jackson, if you had to pick less or more on Celtics fans, just like completely dejecting from their Celtics fandom after this trade, I don't know what the number is. Let's say 20%. What are you choosing?
Sorry, what's the question?
How many
Celtics fans sad, happy?
Yeah.
How
many Celtics fans are going to denounce their fandom after such a move?
Look, I think like when you have like an event such as this, you've almost got to just let the dust settle for 24 hours or so, because like online sentiment right now is, this is worse than the Luka trade, or if it's at least comparable to that, which is, come on, like if we traded Tatum for Rudy Gobert in 2023, you could talk me into a comparison such as that, but it's different for a number of reasons. I think that the sentiment right now is scorching hot, but like I do see some people who are backing it and saying, trust in Brad. It's like, I think I saw you say this on the Discord, Jake, all these trust in Brad people, and as soon as
what happens?
It's like, sack him, fire him into the sun, he's a fucking traitor or whatever. Like, I'm not in favor of that. So I have faith cooler heads will prevail. And I also think there is another move to be made, and you really can't judge this until that theoretical trade happens. So I'm seeing what'll happen for now, but it's bad out there. It's real bad out there.
He's awesome.
Bring back Ainge, man. Ainge would never drop his balls like this.
I mean, Ainge pulled off one of the heists of the offseason, I think, in what he got back for Walker Kessler.
More than we've got back.
That is a completely theoretical bet on Walker Kessler. He's flashed a bunch of stuff, but Danny's been cooking over there in Utah, between the Lowry, Jaren Jackson, and like Jaren Jackson basically got traded for the same amount as Jaylen Brown. Like it was like bunch of nobodies and maybe it was 3 first-round picks instead of 2. I do think the Clippers pick,
yes,
or like what the Clippers/Sixers pick, that's most likely going to be a top 10 pick. I think that pick's going to be traded. I don't think that they're going to pick that pick, but that's the type of value I think that pick has.
Why are the Clippers going to be bad? They got heaps of good young talent. The Clippers.
Who?
They got
they
like
just traded Kawhi.
Garland, got
Might take a couple
Mathurin.
years.
What, Brandon Ingram's gonna get him 45
Brandon
wins?
Ingram.
I can't tell if this is a joke or not.
They're going to be all right, man.
What were
Oh,
the
they're
last
gonna
three?
West.
They're
They're gonna be
5 and
horrendous.
25 or something to start.
It's a two part thing. They're not going to be at the bottom, which is perfect. The new lottery odds want you to be right in that 10
Yeah, I can't deal with that
range.
stuff.
And it's also it's not next year, it's the following year, right? Am I right? It's
They're going to be
2028.
butthole, dude. They were the 10th seed this year, weren't they? The 9th seed, and they had Kawhi Leonard, who was like a top 7 player in the league. Yeah, I maybe I'm wrong.
We'll
I've
see.
been
We'll
wrong
see.
basically. I've been wrong
I'm not-
pretty much every moment the last 6 months, 12 months. So maybe.
They still might get some
You're
shit
pretty
from us.
dialed in. You're pretty dialed in. I'm definitely casual at this point, but like I don't see the Clippers as being bad. You know,
Jake, you were right yesterday to the point where I was like, this motherfucker has a source. He went to Boston. He gained a
I wish,
source
man.
within the organization and is like completely dialed into like the inner sense of things around the league. But
I wish I considered texting the guy that was really nice to me from the Celtics organization. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'll find out what am I gonna do with the information anyway? Besides tell the Discord.
Tell the Discord. Yeah, that's the
which
answer.
would be sick. Don't get me
You
wrong.
would be a king amongst
Yeah.
them.
Join the Patreon, sign up to the Discord, and maybe
Jake might
get
grow some
Jake's
balls.
intel.
And ask the guy. So Jaylen Brown, to your point, Joe, being a hater, right? 2024 version of Jaylen Brown was like the best version of Jaylen that we saw, where he like fully bought in to his role in a way that he hadn't in other years. And I know since then he pretty much reverted. Oh, that's the thing I was going to say before about why not do it last offseason. Don't forget Jaylen was coming off of a horrendous playoffs and meniscus surgery on his knee. And still had 4 years left on the Supermax contract.
I feel like the value arguably would still
would've been
have been better. Like,
Well, clearly, guys,
we could have gone
guys,
both.
Sure, we get
Two
more.
first.
guys,
it's the contract, right?
would it have been?
It's money.
Would it have been? You can't be paying guys that are the 20th best player, the 15th best player, top 3, top 5 money in this new CBA era, and all these front officers agree with this point, I guess.
The argument in hindsight is if you
Sixers.
do it then, even if the value is the same, you get the legitimate tank season and the better draft pick this year.
That's fair.
Hindsight
That's
is 2020.
That's the only, I think that they were surprised at how good they were. Yeah. And that, I think this move now leans into what they thought was real. I think Brad Stevens, I saw Trey on Twitter say that was like, I think the Jaylen Brown season was fake. And I think all the other stuff was real. I think the offensive rebounding and the depth and the turnover suppression and the 3-point shooting is real. And what does Jaylen Brown not do? Doesn't offensive rebound, doesn't make quick decisions. And the number one thing, the golden goose of it all, turnover suppression. Turns the ball over himself, live ball turnovers, and doesn't help the team keep the turnovers down. How many times have the Celtics lost a playoff series or game, Joe, because of turnovers? Basically every single one.
Time.
Every single one.
Look, if we want to talk about why I hate Jaylen, like we can go there.
I was going to say, are we free to talk about this stuff now?
Burn the effigy.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, he's such an idiot. he's actually such an idiot, and he's forced us in. Like he's Jaylen Brown being pissy has forced the Celtics into this thing. This is what it looks like to me. It looks like it's personal. Looks like it's a personality issue to me. And he's forced us in. But anyway, leaving that aside, oh my gosh, he's just so dumb as a player, you know. And it's because of his stature, you know. You hold him to a higher standard, you know. But my gosh, I really won't miss those front rim first free throws because you know that happens all the time. Here we go,
Paul George. Anyone want to guess the free throw percentage career?
Oh, he's probably like 84.
85. Well done.
Right.
Good. Good pick.
The chat is like thirsting for this conversation right now.
Okay, go ahead, Jackson.
My all-time favorite was when he wore the shoes with the Mayan drawings on it. It said, "Was it really Naismith?" referring to Naismith, the creator of basketball. Except he wrote it the same as Aaron Naismith's last name.
Dude. And hey, man, we
I love the guy, but it's so tough to defend cringy shit like that. And
we've ignored some comments. We've ignored some Kanye,
are we doing this?
some Kyrie, Kyrie.
I think Brad just got PTSD from the Kyrie experience, saw what it was becoming, and was like, "I'm not losing an idiot for nothing again. I've got to get something." It's probably in his mind somewhere.
So, and one thing that was incredibly annoying about Jaylen Brown was like, the dude's never been happy once in his life. Like I saw someone, he's going to have the biggest chip on his shoulder ever. I'm like, he always is mad. He's been mad the whole time he's been alive for the Boston Celtics. The worst playoff series and worst moment of his career, 2023 against Miami. They go down 0-3, partly because Jaylen goes 7 for 22 in games 2 of that series after Tatum has like a 33, 10 and whatever. Game 7, Tatum hurts his ankle. It's like, Jaylen, here's your time. Completely shits his pants, tells the city he let them down. And what do the Celtics do? They turn around and give him the biggest contract in the history of the NBA. We've treated you so fucking badly, Jaylen. We've given you $360 million in contracts. And the first time we gave you a big contract, the whole NBA told us that we overpaid you as well. We've overpaid you twice. We've made you a finals MVP, 5-time All-Star, 6th in MVP, 2 times All-NBA. Like, what else could we have done for you? I do not understand. It's never been enough.
Had that one in the chamber, didn't you?
Fuck.
Yeah. I mean, it will be it's gonna be nice not to have to bite our tongue, I suppose. I had sort of the opposite prepared, where I was gonna go in about Jaylen Brown in 10 years time. I'll be looking at like retired jersey, all-time Celtic, like obviously champion, finals MVP, like incredible player, very active in the community, outspoken in ways that I think rub some people the wrong way. Especially when compared to like the 1A player in Jason Tatum, who is still just like selling like shoes, selling watches, selling creams. It's just so like funny. has not budged from his like normal off-season pathway.
His Instagram's the funniest thing. It's like, please defend Jaylen Brown. Here's barbecue Cheeto basketball shoe flavored golf clubs.
Yeah. I don't spend my salary. I only spend my endorsement money. But yeah, I mean, I think it's been such a noisy year with Jaylen Brown, and it's gonna take some time for the clarity of like his contributions to the franchise to come to the surface. I do think ultimately that will be the result. It's been messy now, and I think we have like discourse fatigue as well, where we just want to like, whatever's going to happen, just make it fucking happen so we can move on and like resign to whatever the future is for the Celtics. And that's beginning to happen now. But ultimately, I think like long term, we're going to look back, and he's like plastered all over my wall behind me here. Like, we're going to look back at Jaylen Brown, obviously, as like an incredible all-time Celtic.
No doubt.
Tara's jersey tomorrow. And like, I feel like
do we have to?
Not to
I kind of want to keep some single-digit numbers alive. We're running out of them.
Yeah.
So like, you got to be real special to have a number retired these days.
I feel like a dickhead and a hypocrite. Like, my pinned tweet right now is like Jaylen and Jason, best duo in the league. And like, I do believe that was the case. Like, having 2 supersized forwards that allow you to be malleable defensively, it was a cheat code and a team building cheat code. I do think the NBA has changed. A lot of that is the CBA. And I think part of it is Brad was like, I don't think Jaylen's going to be willing to go back to the 2024 version of himself. Jaylen has now seen him. I feel like Bill Simmons saying this, but maybe Brad agreed with that sentiment. Is that like Jaylen was never going to accept that he was not as good as Jason Tatum. And
is he going to accept that he's worse than Tyrese Maxey or VJ Edgecombe or Joel Embiid?
Probably not. Probably not.
That's his problem. I guess that's his job to figure out.
That's their problem now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Do we want to talk about Paul George or should we keep talking about Jaylen Brown?
I feel like we need to talk about the team as is currently constructed. Just on the TPEs very quickly. So the $27.7 million Anthony Simons trade exception, obviously created when Simons was flipped for Vucevic, expires at this season's, the 2027 trade deadline. That's the big one. Their main tool going forward as far as TPEs are concerned. The $8.4 million Georges Niang trade exception expires soon, August 6th. August 6th, I should say, this year. And then the Drew Holiday trade exception expires very soon, July 7th. So potentially some moves coming up, but probably not, because obviously we want to stay under the tax for this year. There was a note coming from the Boston Globe that one league source said Boston's front office, quote, agonized over the decision for days, but concluded that valuable assets plus Paul George offered the best path forward. So we're now living in this best path forward, at least the short term of whatever the best path forward is. Paul George.
This is copium. This is copium, man. He's
so what?
He's a good player. He's annoying as heck. He's a good player. He makes the orange ball go in the basket.
Yeah.
Like, what are we talking about, guys?
Are you talking about Paul George?
Yeah.
No, we're talking about Jaylen. He's a corny, like mistake prone, mentally weak guy who puts the ball in the basket like 15 times a game. It's like, oh, we're getting
Sounds
rid
an
of
awful lot
that.
of Paul George to me as year
10 years ago.
Yeah.
Look, the Paul, if healthy, I think the Celtics are easily better next season than they were last season. I don't think it's really a question between Tatum being there instead of Jaylen and adding Mitchell Robinson on top of that. Like, that was by far and away the biggest need on the Celtics was the backup big man or big man depth. And he was just able to be the big man in the last 3 games of the finals against Wemby when Towns was in foul trouble. Like, it's not just like, can this guy be good and like a player on a championship team? He was one of the most important players on a team that just won the title. That's a fact. And then Paul George is a perfect fit next to Tatum and for Mazzulla Ball. Regular season, like if the bar is 56 wins and a first round loss, like what just happened, Paul George healthy again. Like, this part is a little bit fugazi. Obviously, 25 plus of the games he missed last season were due to suspension, which I would recommend re-implementing the strategy from last year and taking steroids sometime around Christmas, and send some to me, please. But
what's the protocol, PG? I want to know. Like,
elite 3-point shooter, significantly better passer and decision maker than Jaylen Brown, and a better defender. Like, he outplayed Jaylen Brown so comfortably in the playoffs. Like, it wasn't close at all, really. And then they're just leaning into the Mazzulla Ball, the offensive rebounding, the chaos, the depth, and then all the young guys. Ugo 2nd year, Baylor 3rd year, Ron Harper Jr., who's a dog. Like, there's a ton of internal development. Cater had his first season as a starter. He'll probably be better. They might not win as many games because I think the East is fucking loaded now. But I think they'll be a better basketball team.
I'd rather have the idiot who averages 30 points a game, but like, all we can do is hope for the best.
Fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
This is the opposite. Yeah. This team is the opposite of fuck it, we ball. This is the opposite. This is like all the buttons, all the calculators.
Be careful, we might play. Be careful, we might ball.
Be careful, Paul George may have done steroids.
Yeah.
Jackson, do you think we're a better team going into this season?
Yeah, I got a feeling we are. We were good last year. We were good last year, and now you take Jaylen Brown out and put Jason Tatum in, and then you add Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley, and again, all of the development that the guys this year are going through. I do, but yeah, Jake is also right. The East is also way better, so maybe not as many games, but yeah, I think we've got a good team still. I just like I said, the poor taste is going from having to see Jaylen Brown 4 times a year, and then maybe again in the playoffs, and then you get this like fucking motivated fuck you mentality. You might get the best version of Jaylen Brown again, or he might suck, and maybe Hugo takes a leap, and all of a sudden all of this like roasting that Brad Stevens is getting now for not putting Hugo and Baylor in the Giannis trade, which like is such bullshit to those guys that they've got to like now take that flack. I think it's going to age well, and like I said, I do still trust Brad, and if he thinks, like you said, Jaylen off the team with these guys still on it, and Jason Tatum completely as a 1A option is the way forward, I believe it.
Isn't the question, though, not whether we're better than last year, but are we closer to a championship than we were 24 hours ago?
I was answering better this year.
Brad thinks yes.
Championship wise, I don't know. It's a process, man.
It's interesting. It's an interesting question. So another bet. Go ahead, Bet. You've been trying to ask a question for 2 minutes, I think.
No, because you're on topic. I was going to change this to something else. So, go for it.
Well, this is somewhat of a different topic as well. But like another bet into like what Brad saw from this past season is what he saw from Peyton Pritchard. And I think one of the biggest mistakes from the playoff series that we lost was not playing more Peyton Pritchard. And so from this past regular season, Peyton Pritchard on the court with Jaylen Brown in over 1,600 minutes, averaged 17 points per game on 57% true shooting. With Jaylen off the court in over 860 minutes, Pritchard averaged 27 and 8 assists to a 5 and a 61% true shooting. So like massive increase in volume and efficiency, and was a plus 10 in those minutes versus a plus 4 with Jaylen on the court with him. So this is Noah Dalzell and Rivens in the chat. Like, you might get your Peyton Pritchard All-Star season, because I think that they're making the bet that he's going to be your number 2 scorer and creator. And the numbers back it out. Peyton Pritchard and Tatum have been an elite connection the second Pritchard has walked into the NBA. And I can only imagine how not excited, but maybe excited Peyton Pritchard is right now. He's like, I've been stuck behind Brogdon and Jaylen and Derek and Marcus. And now I'm like, it's time. Finally. This is the moment.
More excited than Grady Dick about his extension.
Yeah.
There we go. I think like with the knowledge that like, clearly next year, with the fact that it's Paul George is expiring, that we've got more draft capital to attach to shit in terms of making moves, and like clearly next year is the year where we're going to spend money. From a Celtics fan perspective, it's fun that like last year was the Jaylen and crew year, and this year is the Tatum and crew year, and we get to compare and contrast what those 2 years look like and what a Celtics team led by either Jay looks like as well. As far as like an intermission in contention, I think that's a fun little gap and a fun thing that'll help us evaluate like the impact of the Jays going forward after this has happened. I think Jaylen on the Sixers is also an interesting thing to look at, where Jaylen Brown, best, most enjoyable season of his career, got to lead a team of essentially role players and enjoyed that very much, straight from the horse's mouth. Now he is in a top-heavy team with Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and VJ Edgecombe, who apparently the Celtics tried to pry away as part of this deal, which would have been fucking awesome. Devastated that they even introduced that thought to my mind.
At least he asked.
Yeah. Good on you, Brad, for asking, and Zarin. But it's like Jaylen Brown and the shot diet and the distribution across that top-heavy like starting 5 is going to be an interesting wrinkle, and probably not what Jaylen Brown was anticipating as far as like, please send me off to my own team. Any thoughts on that?
I do like, the worst part about the trade is that I think it's a good trade for Philly.
Yeah, it is.
If that makes sense.
I do love the idea that Jaylen needed his own team and he's going to a team where it's not his team.
Yeah.
He's firmly number 4. Yeah.
Number 4.
I think he's number 1.
Dude.
I think he's number 7.
Oh, no.
I never connected that 7th best in the league from analytics, and he's also number 7. So,
wow.
Thanks for pointing that out, Joe.
That's some good work. Right there. Yeah.
Yikes.
But like, how much better is Jaylen Brown than Kelly Oubre was in that series? I'm joking. That's a joke.
Now we're talking.
I'm joking. Joke.
Shit.
I mean, we covered Paul George was better. I think but they need guys that can play. The Celtics actually don't. And we've already shown that we can win the title with paying Kristaps Porzingis $35 million and him playing 1 quarter of the playoffs, and that was enough to win a title. Paul George doesn't need to play for us to win 50 plus games, because he's now the Jaylen. So you just imagine if he plays 20 games, but you get Tatum and all the other stuff that you've added, you can survive it. They can't. They need guys that play basketball because Joel Embiid's on their team.
Do you think Sam House is above Paul George in the rotation next year?
Oh, what's the starting lineup? It's obviously Paul George in there, right?
I think the method, first 20 games, Paul George plays. take 30 games off, steroid suspension. I think no brainer. Definitely run that back and then come back like completely roided up, but technically clear from a blood work perspective for the playoffs. So obviously that model worked for the Sixers last year. I think we obviously, like you said, Jake, need to run that back.
Paul George disappeared in the Knicks series. He shot 41% from three still, but like Embiid was gone. Again, Paul George is a nice little role. He's a $50 million role player, which Jaylen Brown was not willing to do.
Wasn't that steroid Olympics on kind of around the same time as that series? Do you think he just cut out and thought he'd jump in the 50 meter freestyle or something like that?
He may not even do that well.
Is the steroids his hair polish? Is that how he took his drugs?
Yeah, like typically guys that took the steroids actually not break many world records. It turns out you actually need to be one of the best athletes in the world and then also take the steroids.
Turns out there were clean athletes in there as well as the doping ones, and a lot of the clean ones won.
Wow.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. I don't know. I could be full of shit, but I did hear that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do we want to, in the 20 minutes or so that we have left, talk about Mitchell Robinson, Mike Conley? Like there were some pretty solid acquisitions made by the Celtics today. I think Mitchell Robinson.
Just one thing. Can we do one thing first?
Yeah, sure.
Tatum should have been Finals MVP. Whoa.
I know, and Eastern Conference Finals MVP.
Oh my gosh!
It's so dumb. It only ever applies to Tatum. Jaylen Brunson stole it in game 5, but it was exact same situation as Tatum. 42% true shooting, but everything revolves around.
Yeah, you know who's actually making this thing work,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Led team in points, rebounds, and assists, and not MVP. Okay.
And then was awesome in the closeout game. And that's I think that ended the era as much as anything. As much as at the time I truly didn't care. I was I think Tatum should have gotten it, but it's been so hard to win this title that I don't care who wins the Finals MVP. Tatum was ass. Yeah. Tone shifter. I don't know what to do with you, brother. Man, I really don't.
Yeah.
I was like Pete Garrigan. I'm like, let Jaylen have this one. Good one, buddy. Yeah. Tatum, you'll have the next one. Now it's okay, I hope there is a next one, but.
Okay, so before we move on to Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley, are we all it sounds like we're all okay-ish with the trade? Is that fair to say? Just given the current market and with the assumption that they took the best possible deal, it just kind of is what it is, and we're excited about the flexibility going forward?
No, Ben, I'm not okay, but that's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think we can agree that the value was just a lot lower than we all thought, and so what are you supposed to do? You would have just kept played the staring contest, Joe.
I would have just made him come back. Yeah, on Twitter, it was man, it feels like we're getting 40 cents on the dollar. Let's just keep the dollar. Yeah. Maybe the dollar will be $1. How bad can it be if he comes back?
Maybe Brad was worried it would get worse. I think that's what he thought. I think Brad thought it could get worse, and he was like, "This is enough for us to get going." My only last thing on Paul George, I just wanted to be because everyone talked about the on-offs last 2 regular seasons and playoffs. Jaylen Brown negative 4.9 on-off swing. Paul George positive 1.9. Paul George, elite catch and shoot 3-point shooter, 41% this year, 38% the year before, 43% the year before, 38% the year before. And then assist to turnover, Paul George was 2.08 this past regular season. Jaylen was 1.41. In the playoffs, Paul George was 1.5 and Jaylen was 0.92. So a negative assist to turnover. And it's all wrapped up in the why I think the Celtics are betting, and then no one cares about these words on the screen. Wrap him, O-wrap him, D-wrap him, OT, all the dumb made up lyrics that no one understands. Paul George owned him in all of it except for offensive rebounding, but both of their numbers are very, very low. That's just all. I did the research and I was I gotta fucking share it now.
I'm still very underwhelmed, but I'm an optimist. I'll get over it. I still think the team is good.
And I think my favorite thing about this whole situation is how divisive it is. Because someone's going to be right. It's going to be somewhere on the spectrum of this just ended the Celtics franchise as it exists. and the other end of the spectrum of, oh, we're probably still going to win another championship in the Jason Tatum era. And it'll be one of those two ends.
Should we be thinking about blowing it up?
Oh, Jason Tatum next.
Hey.
I don't think so, but
but why? Like we've already said, like everything that has been done is to put us in a position of flexibility going into the year where we actually can spend money without triggering the repeated tax. So it's clearly in line with the fact that we want like that to align with Jason Tatum. Sorry, my wife is blending something right outside the door here. Apologies for the background noise.
Fuck Paul George.
It's meant to align with like
the kettle.
Yeah.
It's meant to align with Jason Tatum's like quote unquote prime. Like he'll be basically 29 and a half when we reach that juncture. I think that's important. Like I don't really care about what the team looks like this year, to be honest. I don't really care about Paul George this year. I just care about the flexibility and the optionality we have going into the following year. And I think we're better positioned as a result of this trade. As much as it sucks, I love the Jays. Last 10 years, magical. Best 10 years of my life. So good. The best 10 years of my fucking life have been punctuated by the Jays. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And I've had some incredible moments watching them in the arena, watching them. This whole pod has been centered around shit is getting
Marcus
so
Smart.
good.
We're centered around Marcus Smart. We were going to build around Marcus Smart.
But like shit got so good with the Celtics that we were like, we have to just start a podcast. And that like coincided with the Jays being who they are and that becoming obvious. And we need to like cover this and talk about it regularly. So like in that sense, it's significant. But I do feel strongly about the optionality and the maneuverability we have going forward as a result of this trade.
That being said, like the last 5 years, it's been so the regular season for the Celtics is the best. It's the best TV show going. You know what you're going to get. You're going to have 55 wins at least. But then the playoffs start and you win one title and it was awesome. You lose in just the most disgusting, heart-wrenching way every other year. Up 2-1 in the finals, up in the fourth quarter against the Warriors. Steph Curry puts his nuts all over your face. 2023, you go down 0-3 to the Heat, a team you're significant favorites against. You come all the way back in Game 7, lose, win the title the next year. The following year, you blow 2 20-point leads to the Knicks after being huge favorites in the overall series. Your best player tears his Achilles. And then the following season, you have an awesome kind of magical Cinderella run, and you lose to the fucking Sixers blowing a 3-1 lead. It's like, wow, there was a lot of awesome in the regular season, and then there's a lot of awesome sprinkling in the playoffs. But then at the end, it really didn't like the Nuggets got their title and didn't lose so many bad ones like us. The Thunder, like all these teams that have won one title in the last 8 years, we have got the most pain out of all of them outside of our one title.
We have lost a lot of series we should have won. It always feels like I remember even when we beat Milwaukee, like we had to beat them like five times to win the series.
Same in Miami.
Every single time. Yeah, same in Miami. Ugh.
Yeah.
And look, Jalen's part of that.
We did.
Yeah, he is. Tatum shrinking versus Miami. Bro, you got to go back and watch the series. But anyway.
It is the end of an era, though. And like,
it is.
You know, to Ben's point, you know, like that trade, the Brooklyn trade kicked off this kind of golden era that we've had of 10 years. You know, it was the domino it's the first domino to fall of 10 years of contention. You know, we've been really lucky as fans, and it won't last forever. Won't last forever. So I guess I'm also annoyed. It feels like that era's ending.
Yeah.
You know, like it feels like, in my honest opinion, it feels like our era of contending is actually.
You might be right. You might be right. And that's the whole point of the CBA, though. And that's why there's been 8 different champions over the past however many years. 8 years, obviously, Jake. Yeah, but that is literally the point.
On the NBA Cup, you get a few more.
Hey, I'm not sure you saw our NBA Cup group, but it is bad. So this could be our year.
Oh, destined.
Yeah.
Destined for victory. I think we'll do more on the Jays and the legacy and like the culture and everything, because there's a lot of off season left and things will eventually simmer down and quiet down. I honestly kind of look forward to that because it's been a while. Like I will sleep tonight. I will not wake up and check. Although maybe I'm looking for like Celtics bounce the Paul George contract and paired it with the Clippers pick or something. So maybe I won't sleep.
Paul George
tonight,
for Giannis tomorrow morning.
Can you imagine? Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
3 years, 47.4 mil with a player option in year 3, signed using the Celtics mid-level exception. It can't be officially signed until July 6th, but it's agreed to in principle. And then Mike Conley, if you subscribe to like Bill Simmons' concept of the secret, I think great addition to the team. 1 year minimum salary contract. No further details are reported at this stage. I presume just to be a straight veterans minimum. The vibes were high, Jackson, to begin the day with those signings, and like, well, the Celtics are just operating as normal and going about their business and ignoring the noise with the Jaylen Brown situation. We now know that not to be true. But how do you feel about these signings with all things considered?
Yeah, it's hard to formulate a really solid, substantial opinion given everything that's transpired. I've also been deep in like the World Cup like fucking zone. This Jaylen trade kind of like snapped me out of it. I was obviously aware of the Giannis stuff as well too, but yeah, this was like, whoa, shit. Look, I like Mike Conley. I've always liked Mike Conley. I like having on the team. I was kind of underwhelmed when I read the Mitchell Robinson news. I just immediately just thought of the whole Hacker Mitch. Yeah, but it was also like 6 a.m, and I was like doing these ones. The more I thought about it, and the what I saw were end up paying him, and when you actually like canvass the league and like how much fucking Walker Kessler's going for versus what you can get Mitchell Robinson for, and man, he's won a title. He might not have been the most pivotal member on that team, although he was pretty important for big stretches of it. But that's good experience to add to the team, man. So yeah, I feel good about it, but it's obviously been overshadowed by other news today. But I'm optimistic. Yeah.
Mitch Robinson's the exact sort of player we need. We need people who rebound. Like that's always been the weakness of this team. I mean, last year's wasn't too bad, but like the defensive rebounds they get given up at crucial spots. But so that's great. Conley probably won't play. So yeah.
I was more excited about Conley immediately. I was like, I think Brad just signed the best diplomat in the NBA to fix the Jaylen Brown situation, which is obviously like fan fiction to begin with. But it does feel a little bit like a wasted roster spot the more that I reflect on it. But you do need a guard on this team right now. And he played how many games last season? It was 54. And then he was healthy in the playoffs. He played all 12 playoff games and had to step up after Dante DiVincenzo got injured and Ant was injured and shot 50% from 3. Like, he can give you 10 minutes a game, but he's going to be fucking 39. Like, let's be honest about what we're talking about here. But he can give you 10 minutes. That's tough. I was more excited initially about the Conley thing, but whatever.
Is there any like parallels with Kyrie left, Kemba came back in? I hate to paint Jaylen with this brush.
This is awesome.
So Jaylen's gone. Mike Conley's in. Bit of a vibes restorer. They just like run that playbook back again.
That's going to be so rough when we get the first man, everyone's smiling a lot more this year, which is not true because everyone smiled. Let's not forget how fun last season was until it ended.
Vibes were great last year, man.
It really was an incredibly fun season. And I talked a ton about Jaylen Brown's leadership and was absolutely deserved because I think that he was a big reason why a lot of those young guys felt confident and played well. Like, we do need to do the Jaylen Brown appreciation episode.
I'm not here for that.
We do.
I'm not here for that. I'm not here for that, Jacob.
Oh, dude, I could do that. We could jump right off this pod and start that. I'm ready. I've got like an hour of content on Jaylen Brown appreciation. I love that man. But the Mitchell Robinson acquisition is fantastic because you have to imagine multiple teams were vying for that acquisition. Celtics got him. Hopefully that says a lot about the Celtics as a destination for potential free agents and the role that they've potentially pitched to Mitchell Robinson. I do think Neemias Queta will be the starting center. I think Mitchell Robinson is just like sort of proven to himself and to others that he's sort of limited in his minutes capacity, and I think that's fine. And Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench as opposed to Luka Garza or Nikola Vucevic is just like a huge elevation in production in that part of the rotation. And then like, the obvious part is just like Jason Tatum and the way that he orchestrates bigs and the way that he elevates them, and for him to work with like an elite, like title winning like person who was just like crucial to a title run, I think is really exciting going forward. And unfortunately, while great is not enough of a distraction from the sort of the doom situation we're in now, vibes wise with the Jaylen trade, but it's a good start.
Yeah, no, Mitchell Robinson is not starting. You're getting Paul George and Mitchell Robinson on the health plan. Mitchell Robinson played 14 minutes a night in the playoffs. Part of that is obviously they had Cat. Part of that is also they had a shitload of blowouts in the Knicks playoff run. He was such a big need. Like, this is dumb, obviously, but if you take Mitchell Robinson off the championship Knicks and put him on the Celtics team that just lost to Philly, we beat the Sixers in 4 or 5, and we might win the title. I'm just kidding.
Well, it's
we beat the Sixers.
You never know, man. You
never know. You actually do never know. This new NBA, man, like anything's possible. If Derek White maybe would have started hitting shots, who knows? I think he could be next, but no. Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson feels the number one need on this team by such a wide margin. Like we were trotting out Luka Garza and Vooch last year, dude. What are we talking about?
Vooch was shit. I'm sorry, I haven't been on this pod in a while. I wanted to like him. He was fucking terrible, man. Worse than Kenta. Holy shit! Yeah. Sorry, had to get that.
No. Yeah.
That's freedom.
At least Kenta rebounded. Jesus.
Freedom to you, sir.
We're about to wrap up. We're 4 minutes from the hour mark. Closing remarks, closing thoughts. Any takes you haven't had a chance to fire off before we wrap this thing up?
I got one.
Oh yeah.
Before the next 3 years,
is a different one.
This is a different one. You again.
Look. When Wick sold the team, we were like, ugh. Yeah. Like, we all had to be like, man, we've been really lucky with the Grousbeck group. This is what new ownership looks like, guys. Not great.
Yeah, we're never going to know what I was going to call him Wick would have done in the CBA thing. Like, he got out at the perfect time. It's like, hey, bro, yeah, I paid the big bill. We won the title and I sold the team. So we don't know, and we will find out next offseason because no team in this new CBA era has been willing to stay in the second apron or do the repeat attacks. The Knicks just lost Mitchell Robinson because Dolan was not willing to do this exact thing. So it might just be everyone's cheap and not willing to do it, or it's the reality of the CBA. We will find out if he's willing to pay the big tax bill next offseason. Right now, I still think the jury is out on that part.
Yeah, I think it remains to be seen. I think it's a valid suspicion, this could be the route we're going down. But I think until we see how this plays out and there's a clear purposefulness in this trade, right? Like, you wouldn't take such a dog shit return unless you had a good reason to do so. And someone said in the comments earlier, the front office didn't become stupid overnight, so they have some sort of plan. And while you may be right, Joe, we don't know yet, but I can understand seeing the signs and thinking that.
One question that's really important before we leave. Did we guarantee Delano Banton's contract for next season?
That is important. He is the best theoretical player in the league.
Because I just looked at Spot Track and he's just in there. And it's in there, man. Is that a cap hold? No, it's non-guaranteed still, surely. Someone in the chat got to know what's going on here.
We'll traded him back to Portland, man.
Dude. Starting lineup: Delano Banton, Paul George, Jason Tatum.
The length. All dimensions lineup. All right. Okay. Cool. Well, this has helped me.
I had a ton of fun.
Yeah, I hope the folks in the chat, people listening later, this has been helpful, therapeutic for you. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here in a few days with more thoughts, more reactions. So make sure you subscribe on YouTube or to the podcast, or ideally both, so you don't miss anything. We missed the Ron. We'll do the Ron Harper Jr. pod. Don't worry. Jake, Jackson, Joe, love your work, guys. Jackson and Joe, founding members. Like I said earlier, great to have you guys back on the pod. Until next time, go Celts.